Welcome. Finally, we're back. It's been a couple months, I think, but we're back here with the AGML 2031 mock draft. I'm, of course, here with my short time friend, Alex.
Hello, Chargers here, as
Hey
always.
guys, Chargers here.
Chargers here, back at
Buccaneers
it again.
here.
Hey, sometimes people forget.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the only.
I'm always,
I'm always memeing in chat, but sometimes people forget about me.
that's true.
I'm a very forgettable person.
Yeah,
Who's that
I
guy
mean,
again? He runs that
oh,
league. Is it
he's that guy again.
like
He's the Saints like
BSML or
bottom bitch.
something?
Like, TM MGMF is that the league he runs?
But yeah, anyways, this is the 2023 mock draft. It's one of our last drafts of
Um,
the Madden, but I think it's a
yeah.
very um. I think overall it's not the most top heavy class, but it's a fairly deep class from what I'm seeing. Of course, we don't know any of the overalls yet to compare anything to, so it could be extremely top heavy, but uh, I don't think it's. I think it's just going to be fairly deep. A lot of the guys we have going in the 20s would be even top or teens in other drafts, in my opinion. But
Mhm.
that's enough rambling. Um,
Yeah.
well, where else to start but at pick number one? Pick number one, of course, this year going to Jack, and it's always Jack's team's been. We've always been pro Jack in this mock draft. Always big
Mhm.
fans of the land down under, and I think
Well, and
it's
just the way he built, just the
right.
way he built the team.
And like we were so hype. Who's that safety he took? Really high. Oh, what's his
Uh,
name?
Christensen, I want to say. I want to say it was like
I don't think it's
Christensen.
Christensen. Um, let's see. I'm gonna go check quick because
For sure.
this is important knowledge. I need to because he needs to
Murphy.
Murphy,
Mumphrey.
or Mumphrey.
Mumphrey.
I love Mumphrey so much,
Yes.
and I
The
still
pick.
love Mumphrey. I still love
Hmm.
Mumphrey. I think it's one of my favorite picks.
Hmm.
Especially I love safety picks. Um, one of my favorite positions in Madden, and yeah. But Jack's back up here. Had a bit of a rough season.
Yeah.
Um, but still think he has a lot of missing pieces. But he has some good pieces to build around as well, like Mumfree. So
Hmm.
I think here you look at his team and it's like he can go almost anywhere.
Yeah.
I and like we were saying, it's not really top heavy class. I I mean, and I was having this conversation with Alex. I don't think there's a true number one guy in this draft. Like many other
Yeah.
drafts, there's no like one clear cut man.
The top 10 was a lot harder to pick versus the bottom 15, which is not usual.
Right,
Usually
there's
we're like scraping the bottom of the barrel. We're like, oh my God, who do the Saints pick at pick number 28 through 32?
right.
Oh,
Um,
O-line, I guess. It's not that.
right. No, exactly. Like we have all the very good players seem to have a little bit of a flaw. There's no clear cut. Um so I think one of the probably the most clear cut just most talented guys on the board and for me going number one is defensive tackle Morgan Gilberry. Um, really, his biggest knock is defensive tackle is not a position you normally think about at 1-1 just because it's a defensive tackle and you can find him elsewhere. But this guy, he's definitely one of the most complete packages in this draft. He's out of
Mm,
USC, and he's just a physical freak. Big dude, strong dude, fast dude. You know, he's got it all. He's got that football knowledge that um, coaches love. And he, of course, he's just good at stopping the run and just running people down despite having such a big frame.
yeah. Not only, I mean, I also have Morgan Gilberry going. Uh, like you said, D tackle is not a coveted position, especially at 1-1. Especially if he's not like an out of this world Von Hall type of player. But another knock to him is that he's a run stopper, and that like the league, as we saw like last Super Bowl, is not really predicated on stopping the run. You don't really need to draft top end guys that are built to stop the run. You need people that rush the passer, and Gilbert just doesn't really provide much that we see
All
in that
right.
department.
I think, of course, he'll still be in a very good pass
Hmm.
rusher just because, I mean, being that big, that quick, it's hard
Yeah,
to stop you completely because of just how much of a physical freak you are. A lot of times, interior linemen just will
get there.
struggle with that, and it's fine.
Hmm.
I think, but I don't think he could. There's not the guarantee that he'll be as prolific, getting to the passers. Some other uh, star
Yeah,
uh, defensive tackles, the big
yeah.
few.
I mean, I see him as like the new, like he's the best Von Hall esque player that we've seen, right? Because Von Hall doesn't have the sack numbers, but he just
Hmm.
has like a bunch of tackle for losses and stuff like that. And he
Right,
came out with like this straight, like he's Von Hall, but like just a bit more downside and a bit more riskiness to it.
right. I don't know. It's a weird first pick overall.
Hmm.
But I think as you'll see us going through the next few picks, you'll kind of see, okay, maybe that's their thinking on it. So next up,
Yeah,
we're staying down in Florida, moving from Jacksonville to Miami. And Josh, it's so weird how this team's fallen, you know.
hmm,
Like, I mean, it's not weird at all if you look at the team. Um, sources say the coach, his morale's just crushed um, by a potato peeler,
wasn't it?
which
Yeah, it was
it's a
no, who knocked him out? Wasn't it Jim
potato peeler.
in the 60 notes? Oh, potato peeler. Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a potato
my bad.
peeler. He's not a
Peeler.
potato. He's a potato peeler.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's yeah, it's sad. Like, I mean, of course,
Hmm.
Dolphins were perennial in the playoffs. I mean, of course, when you first see it, it's like, yes, finally, new teams. But then you're like, wait, no, this is our staple, not like this. It needs to be
Yeah.
more dramatic. It's such a whimper end to this beautiful run by the Dolphins. But now they're up here. I'm sure maybe it gives Josh something fun to look at, something that's not just pick, 30. Well, he usually traded out by this point, so he was hardly in the
Hmm.
mock drafts as they were, anyways. So, here, again, it's another tough, like, pick. No guarantees, like, oh, this is totally number two overall. I think here, though, you go the best corner on the board by far. One of the best corners, a pure zone corner. Well, actually, he's not even pure zone. He's one of the most talented corners at both zone and press I've seen coming out. I think
Hmm.
Cornell Leonard out of Virginia is one of the most talented um, corners I've seen just because of that zone and that press. Um,
Yeah.
he's no, sadly, if it was man and press, that would have been oh my god. I feel like
Yeah.
press doesn't go as well with man or a zone as it does with man, but Madden doesn't care about how what your corners are good at. It will call both man and zone and things need and press. So I think it's very good to have both. And yeah, Cornell Leonard, the only real concern, and probably the biggest reason I didn't have him going number one overall, is that top end speed isn't quite
Yeah.
like elite, or it's fine. It's okay at best. It's and I guess it's probably a little easier to get away with than like this. Oh, maybe not. But being zone can sit back a little, maybe be a little slower, not having to keep up with you know some of the guys in that division. The
Yeah.
Dante Mills,
Well,
I believe.
I'm about to say the Bills are gonna eat that
Yeah,
corner alive after if they
especially
beat the press.
yeah.
That Bills team is speedy.
Mhm. But of course, that's why you have good press to keep up. So not the
Mhm.
worst combo, but I like Leonard a lot.
For me, I have the Dolphins going what I think is probably the third best player overall in the class, and Martin Woodard, the defensive tackle out of Arizona State.
Mhm.
Another run stopper. Josh has never built that team with defensive backs. Like
Sure.
that's always kind of been his weak point. He just kind of always ignored it. Even during his height, he ignored it, and he always focused more on the defensive line and linebackers. And so, while he would be taking the second best defensive tackle, it's still something that is still a top five player in the league or in this draft class. Same exact kind of makeup as Gilberry, just again a little below that, just a tad below what Gilberry brings to the table.
Yeah, that's fair. I think what it's a weird pick just because I mean I don't know. It
Mhm.
just feels weird to have mocked two defensive tackles,
Yep,
1, 2,
absolutely.
just because like if you go real life, the idea of picking especially defensive tackles and pure defensive tackles like these guys, like guys
Yeah,
who you really wouldn't see, like there's not like the Joey Bosa's. I believe Joey Bosa was pegged as someone who could do both DT and edge, depending on. And of course, he moved to edge, I believe, but
yeah,
he can, or he was able to do both just because he was such a pass rusher.
yeah.
Here they're two guys I couldn't ever see move to edge. They're pure up the middle interior kind of guys, and it's
Hmm.
really cool that there's two guys. Some of the two best plays on the board are these dudes. Maybe I don't even know if this league needs more good defensive tackles. We have a lot, but I don't mind.
Yes.
I don't mind too much. I like the good big boy up the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah. Next up, we got the Vikings, and the Viking. I don't even know what to think of the Vikings.
Mhm.
The Vikings are a weird team. They've been a loss since their Super Bowl appearance. I feel like
Yeah.
they just haven't been the same. A lot of their old guys have been retiring and just not adequately replacing. Uh,
Yeah.
and like they have Kendrick or Hendricks, and like
Well, that's actually kind of the issue. Is like Hendricks is good on paper, but like performance wise,
yeah,
he's just not doing anything
mhm.
for him.
And I'm just like
I'm yeah.
he's like fine, and it's like, but is he the issue or is it everyone else? Is it not me? It's you. I don't know. There's a lot.
Hmm.
It's not like he's the only guy on that team. Not like that's not going. Everyone
Yeah.
seems to be falling apart. So I think here it's a tough uh decision, but like again another unorthodox. I'm going another fairly. I guess corner's not that unorthodox for me, but here I think just because of scarcity, it's such an important thing, and seeing how that there's a giant Kittle-sized hole in that team, I think you
Yeah.
have to go Chris Webb just because of what he can do for a team. I think he's one of the best tight end prospects. And I think you have to look at over what in Green Bay and see how that top 10 tight end pick is doing for them and being like, all right,
They won
maybe,
the division.
yep. I think you kind of have to like just giving that target uh Hendricks, or if you move past him or for the last year or whatever,
Yeah.
figure something out. You can pick a target for him to consistently be able to go to, get that first down, make the consistent grabs. He's so good at catching, and he's so good at route running, and he's just so quick and agile and strong. I think
Hmm.
it's hard to miss, especially in such a scarce position.
Yeah.
So,
F- for me, I have the Vikings going Cornell Leonard. The Vikings have a good corner. They do have a good corner on the roster, but they do have only one. Cornell Leonard, like you said, is good. Like if he had top end speed, I feel like he would be the one that we would all rally around and say this is the quintessential number one pick.
hmm
But the fact that he has a sub or like a above 4.5, 40, 4.54, it scares people. I think it's gonna scare some people off,
hmm
and he's gonna really have to rely on that press when it comes to man situations.
for sure.
But if that press is good, and it looks like it will be good coming out, Cornell Leonard can make some plays happen and can shut down receivers even with that low frame or that low speed.
Right. And I mean, yeah, even though he's yes a bit slower, I don't think
Mm,
it's complete. It's so bad it's detrimental to the player. Like it's manageable. It's not a strength by any means, but it's something that's like you can be like, all right, we can still run with him. He's still so good at press and zone that we just can't not go with him. You know?
yeah, he's a pack. I mean, like he's a package. He could be a completely balanced corner essentially,
Right.
and like balanced in a very good way.
And I think he just has that sense too, that football sense of knowing where the
Mm,
ball's going to be. That really, I think, even helps mitigate the
yeah,
speed issue. Like, who
yeah,
needs speed when you can be at where the ball is just because you can read the quarterback so well,
yeah.
read the receiver and his routes, so you can stick with him. You know.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I like Leonard a lot. I'm excited for him. I'm just yeah. I think there's valid concern about his speed there. Um, I think that's good Viking analysis. I do like Viking analysis. Um, next up we have Detroit. And Detroit. I really like Detroit a lot. Detroit's been
Hmm.
a fun team, and I feel like it looks like they've given up on Hughes. And it's
Yeah,
sad. I like Hughes. I liked how Hughes
Hughes was good.
played,
I thought
but
he was gonna end
I
in
think
there.
you've decided this. I don't think any of the top three teams are can or should bite on quarterback. They have too many other. And of course, the Lions have needs as well. Um,
Yeah.
they're not empty, but I think here you go with the quarterback. When you're here, uh, you just need it. And I think Nick Douglas, well, maybe not the best prospect, especially at quarterback I've seen here. Um, it's he's he's got some really smart accuracies that I particularly like. Um,
Mm,
I think he'll he's very much a pocket passer. Uh,
yeah,
I mean
he's safe.
he's
I think he's
not
a safe pick.
he's not a yeah he's very safe. He's not even that slow or that unagile. It's just I think he's he's gonna find the guy and he'll throw it to him and hopefully not put it into too much danger. He's not gonna throw too many gooses,
No,
like.
no.
And I think here, I think with the quarterback situation in Detroit, you just like, all right, we're moving past Hughes, pick up Douglas for the last handful of years,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
I think it makes sense. Um, yeah, no, it's not. He's he's a pretty boring quarterback to me, but he's the quarterback in this class. And if you want quarterback in these twilight years of AGML, you're going Nick Douglas.
Mm. I agree. We have to get Nick Douglas off this board.
Mhm.
I think it's a smart move. I mean, hopefully the the goal at this point in AGML was that you had a quarterback cemented.
Mhm.
Um, and it's a shame that the Lions think they didn't have it in Hughes.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, maybe I missed something, but I know he was never bad.
No. I mean, I think he had issues sometimes in the playoffs just getting over some of the other powerhouse teams. Like,
But like, yeah,
it's everyone other than Jim, I feel like.
yeah,
Like,
about to
even
say.
Fordham, as a, I mean, McCarron only made the playoffs, or, he's never made the Super Bowl. Fordham only made the Super Bowl once. Some of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Fordham has never made the Super Bowl.
I swear
He
he
made the
did.
conference game. Nope. He made it to the conference game, lost to the 49ers, and then 49ers lost to the Broncos.
Did he not? Oh.
Hmm.
I mean,
Because
he's
he,
made
he
the
hasn't been
conference
in
game a
he really
few
hasn't been in the
times.
playoffs. Yeah, he made the conference game and then lost both times.
I thought he beat me in the conference. No, wait, that might have been
Nope.
it's been
That was divisional.
because well, I lost to Jim twice, and then
Hmm.
Giants. I
I mean,
thought.
you can check the record book. It's all there. Um, but yeah. I mean, hopefully Nick Douglas can have a Tobias-esque effect on the Lions, like early on,
Mhm.
where he can lead them to the playoffs or even a Super Bowl. I think a playoffs alone, just off his rookie year, would say good things about Nick Douglas
Right.
with the supporting cast that he'll have. I think that this is going to be, if they do go Nick Douglas, this has to be a very heavy offensive draft for the Lions to kind of build a core around him for the last two seasons.
Mhm. But yeah, I don't know. It's Lions. I think Douglas is the guy. Next up, we have
Mm,
Cody. Cody the Cowboys. And I know Cody listens into these, so shout out to
yes.
Cody. Um, I think here we're this is gonna be an interesting. We're gonna split again, which is probably for the interest of the podcast. Agreeing's boring, and here
Yes.
I think Cody, even if it might be a bit of a reach, I think Cody's willing to get that weapon. Just Essex, Essex has been good at times, really good, but he just I
Mm,
don't know, it doesn't put it together, and I think just getting another weapon is gonna be what Cody has to think about. And I think here you really have to think about Tim Womack, who's just I mean, a great talent, one of the best route runners I've seen coming out. Um I think one thing that Tim Womack reminds me of is Stephon Diggs, where he's gonna make himself into a deep threat not because he's the fastest dude in the field. He's certainly not Tyreek Hill, Will Fuller kind of guy, but he's such a good route runner that he'll just get open and because he can get away from corners because he's running the
mm,
perfect most precise route. The quarterback knows where he's going to be, and he's just so agile and strong too that like his speed, which is, I mean, I think it's less of a concern than Leonard, the cornerback
Yeah.
speed as a prospect. Um, I think his speed is just okay, not elite level, but it's average, which is fine. Maybe not what you normally want for a deep threat, but I think here Womack would be a great fit for Essex and just trying to give the Cowboys more life and hopefully back into the playoffs for these last hand or couple years. It'd be great to see Essex compete.
Yeah, I agree with your analysis there. I could definitely see them going wide receiver. However, I see them going with I think is a better prospect, a better player overall in D'Angelo Means, the free safety out of UCF.
Mhm.
He's a boomer. I mean, like he's a free safety that can play strong safety. He's a more I'd say he's more in box safety
For sure.
uh than he is a free safety roaming. But he does have that speed. He does have that agility as well to roam in the backfield. Tashawn Perry is old. He's
Right.
really regressing. You can see it,
That's
and they
that's where I
can't.
was like, huh, would he really go like I mean, as just a
I
Perry
mean,
fan, um I think Perry can be hard to like. Even though he's getting old, it's like, would he truly replace Perry? And I don't know if he would or not. It's a
yeah,
good
I
question.
think Cody wants to try for another ring. I think Means can provide some turnovers for the Cowboys, and just some rejuvenation of youth in that backfield.
Right, it's certainly a lot of old boys from the early days.
Yeah, I like Womack. I just think that Means is the better prospect coming out
Mhm.
for him. But I can totally see him trying to get another weapon, trying to fix Essex, and not have that trade from a few years ago look like it's backfired completely.
Mhm.
Uh, because as we know, the quarterback that they traded went on to win another Super Bowl with the Broncos, and then also make the playoffs again just recently.
Right. Anyways, that's a good cowboy analysis. I do agree. Here, next up we have the Browns. And Browns
Mm,
have actually a sneaky little team here.
I do.
Sneaky little team. And
Arietta is good.
yeah, their quarterback is yeah, not nothing to be snuffed at cuz even though he's really the old I mean, there's always the two philosophies, the Heron philosophy or just the top end philosophy. And I think Arietta's one of the more successful Heron kind of guys
Mm,
we've seen. And I think Browns are in a really weird position here. A lot of their needs, I feel like, aren't truly able to be addressed. Here, a lot
yeah.
of them are just got like the positions are either not great or you know just yeah not are already taken. Like I would love to have or even just it would be a breach to take. Like I feel like for they need running back,
They do
but
need running back.
running back is like um it's still like a little
It's
maybe
not
not
here. It's not six. It's not six.
six,
It's not six.
not six, and I feel like yeah, and receiver the best receiver in my opinion is gone. And I think just
Yep.
looking at that O line, you have like one truly startable guy on that O line, and the rest are either garbage practice squad guys or
You have a
no
right
one.
tackle. Yeah.
You have one right
Yep.
tackle. I think here you take the best O line in this draft. Just be
Hmm.
like, you need to start somewhere. Get both your tackles solidified because you need people. You need guys. Like, it's not
Yeah.
even a question. You can find the
Yeah.
other positions elsewhere, but here I think you have to go Brent McGraw, um, the right tackle. Just, a solid dude. He's a
Hmm.
He's out of Michigan State, so the Big Ten uh, tackles are always really good dudes, and he's just great at pass blocking. It's a plus, and I think honestly, I'd move him to left tackle. I don't think right tackle is a good fit for him. I think
Yeah.
moving him to left makes a lot more sense, giving his pass blocking and just impact and all that. He's just so fast and quick, and he's not he's not the strongest in his class, but he's definitely not an issue, not a concern. His strength. So I think yeah, McGraw is who you have to go with if you're the Browns, just because
Mm.
it's so desolate at O line. You need something.
I agree. I'm gonna go Brent McGraw as well. I do disagree with your assessment that you move him to left tackle
Hmm.
because while he is a pass blocker, and he is a damn good one at that, he also has a lot of speed, a
That's
lot
fair.
of agility, a lot of not elusiveness, but just like quickness, and that you want as a right tackle because who have been the terrors in the league, right? Malcolm Grant, he's facing off against the right tackle. He's not going up against the left tackle. Abbott, he's facing off against the right tackle. Right? He wants. I think this we want to kind of change the philosophy because all these edge rushers that are coming out, they're coming out and they're getting big numbers against the right tackle,
Sure.
not the left. The left tackle seems to hold its own, right?
I
And
still
he has the quickness and the agility to be a right tackle in terms of run blocking as well if you want to run to that side and get upfield and block a lineman and block then a linebacker and then even get off that block as
sure.
well.
I
He
just
is just that fast.
I think Carson O'Neal, their current right tackle, holds his own there, and I think just having that stalwart left tackle is always so appealing.
Mm,
But that's my thoughts. Next up, we have Ravens, and after such a really good season 2 seasons ago, they really took a
yeah.
step back, and it's like there's a few reasons why. I think receivers getting
I think they
old.
became what they were,
They're
yeah, what they
elderly
should have been.
boys now too,
Yeah.
which I mean. So I think here you have this. Of course, you can go the receiver route, which I mean I think he could certainly do. Um,
Mm,
it's you give Stalker. I think giving Stalker younger weapons is what you have to do, and
yeah.
even if most of the weapons here are reaches, I think you just have to. Especially on my board, there's no Webb, there's no Womack anymore.
Yeah.
Alex doesn't have that issue, but here I think you do reach for the running back because just giving Stalker more options, and I think having a power back that can have a
Mm,
bit of elusive or agility, a bit fast, not a pure bruiser, slow dude, but a guy who has speed but can maybe a little Leonard Fournette. Maybe not the best comparison because Leonard Fournette kind of died, but in real life. But a guy he's
we won't have that
considered a
issue next
power
year.
back, but you know still a quick, agile guy. I think going Trey Roth out of Houston, going
I
to
mean,
um, Baltimore's going to help that offense. Give a little pressure off Stalker and the receivers. Maybe have establishing that run game will open receivers up again. And hopefully we
mhm.
can see a resurgence back to 2 years ago. Is Rosen still in the game, by the way? I haven't looked.
I don't know. I
Has
don't
he
know. I'd have to
retired
look.
yet? Are we gonna?
I feel like I would have made a big announcement if I saw that. So I'm unsure.
I'll check. I'm gonna check right now. You
Okay.
can start.
I'm gonna do my pick. Unlike Tyler,
Yeah,
who
Rosen's in.
has got.
He's not gonna last after this year. He's not.
All
This
right
is his
then.
last year.
Rip.
He's
He doesn't get the
68
X factor.
overall. 68 overall.
Dang. Rip. He woulda. This would have been our last season. This would have been the last draft. He would have got it. That's a real shame, actually. Dang.
That is, I mean,
I'm sorry, Kevin.
I'm still willing, if especially if the Ravens aren't in a position to win. I mean, fuck
And
it, you
the other
know.
team isn't. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, it doesn't even
let's
matter. If
see,
he's willing to
let's
start
see.
Rosen, why not?
Yeah, you're starting a 68 overall quarterback
Yeah.
over
Absolutely.
Stalker. Also, X
Yeah.
Factor doesn't magically make him good. You
No,
know, it's
no,
not like
no.
he needs. I don't even know, would he have his X Factor ability?
Probably not.
I think. I mean, I'd be
We
fine
get to
with
see
it.
what it is. Yeah, I'd be fine with it.
He's still
Um,
starting a 68 overall quarterback over a
a lot
23.
of a lot of the weapons that you had going early are still on my board. I'm picking more defensive players early on. So I think they get Stalker a weapon. I think they go with the best weapon available in Chris
Oh,
Webb.
absolutely. If he was there, I
Yeah,
mean, I
like
had him
again,
going
he's
third. I had him
LaSalle.
going third, man. So,
LaSalle has exactly. LaSalle has revitalized the Packers offense. Gillespie led, I think he was leading the league in yards for probably 14 straight weeks. And I don't know if he finished with the league leader in yards, but I think LaSalle was a uh, big in input into that Packers offense. And I
right.
think Kevin sees that. I think a lot of teams see that.
And I
And I
mean,
think that the Ravens
also
pull the
with
plug on it.
the scarcity at that position, if you
Oh
look,
yeah,
I mean, you can go down the board. Uh, Jags and Dolphins probably need tight end. I don't know.
they do. They do.
Vikings, Lions, um, Ravens. Just this, you go down so many tight ends on the needs
Hmm.
spot, and it's like, all right, maybe now is when we get, even if a traditionally tight end is not important. I think in Madden it is important.
Yes.
It's really important for the sim, and I think people just want that position that's scarce.
Hmm.
So yeah, I really like that pick for Rave or Kevin. Um,
If it happens, it happens, man.
Again,
That'd be pretty
had him going
insane.
to the other purple team at number 3.
Of
So
course, yeah. Try to get
and
Hendrick some help.
yeah, but I think going any, he could go number 1, and I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'd be happy with it. Um,
yeah. He's really good. I just don't think tight end. Well, I wouldn't say he's really good. I'd say he's a top five talent.
mhm.
I don't think he's the best
I
overall
don't think,
player
but I could totally
out of the
see why
box.
someone would go him, even if there's other more pressing needs, just 'cause
Yeah.
he's a fun toy that is hard to get elsewhere. I don't think you're
Mm,
gonna find a prospect like him outside of the top 10 again. I mean, in the last draft.
yeah.
So yeah. Next up we have Wiley, and really an interesting season for the Falcons. Lots of
Hmm.
good parts, but man, like there's just, you get rid of Starkey. You almost, I feel like you are expecting more after getting rid of Starkey, a career guy like that.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'm from the AF or NFC South, so I'm looking at this, you know. But I think here it's like, what do you do? Definitely could go running back. Starkey needs a running back, but I think with Roth gone to the Ravens on my board, I think here he goes and picks up Means, who has gone on your board. Just because
Yes.
Means is, he needs safety bad, and Means is the best safety on this board. So it's not a lot. It's not a very deep pick. Uh, it's just a need pick, and also Means is good. He he's pretty or like most safeties in Madden. He's just a good combine kind of guy. Big hitter. You called him a boomer, okay. Um, yeah, no, he's a safety. I like safeties a
He's
lot,
safety.
but
Yeah.
this one guy Means is absolutely a safety. So that's my analysis.
All right. One thing I feel like I'm gonna be going on a offensive run here. I will have the Falcons go Trey Roth. You said Leonard Fournette. I see him as like I see Philip Pace in him. I know he's
You're
my
right,
running
right,
back,
right.
so I get to see him. But like his power back, he's got some quickness to him, but not top end speed. But like he has like quintessential power moves, right? Like those are what he does.
Well, I just say Leonard Fournette as a real life comparison, I guess.
Sure, sure.
Just
Um,
cause guy known for more power, but has a bit of quickness. He's not only
mhm,
power.
yeah,
But yeah, no,
so
Roth
yeah,
is a good guy.
yeah. Falcons need a running back. They need to get their quarterback some help.
hmm I think with this class, I thought about running, but it's like I look, it's like after Trey Roth, I don't think the second guy is quite there yet to be drafted.
Yeah.
So I think it's like you have to look elsewhere. And of course, Falcons certainly have other needs other than just running back. They're not a running back away from, I think, being competing, especially with the Saints. Like,
Yeah.
and there's no like Nixon kind of prospects even to
Yeah, no, not
or
at all.
Abraham's. Jeez, I hate these
We had
running
a good
back
run. We had
things.
a good running back run.
Yeah,
Couple drafts.
but yeah, I know. Next up, we have the Buffalo Bills. Shout out, to the Bills, who I believe are in the Twitch chat and listening live. Very much appreciate that.
I hope you like this pick.
This is a fun pick.
This is
This is
this
a
is
fun pick.
probably
We
my
went the
most
same.
excited
We went
pick
the same thing. It's
of
such
the
a
class.
dumb but great pick. Like
Hmm.
I'm not. I shouldn't say dumb. I think it's
It's
absolutely
not dumb,
smart. Um,
hmm
like this is just a.
but it's my most exciting.
Here, you can go. You're so excited.
Okay, I'm excited for this pick. You had Womack going as the first wide receiver gone.
Uh huh.
I think if the chips fall, the Bills do not want to go Womack. I think they want to add Hassan Stevens out of Texas, who runs a 4.340 and has a great release and the ability to catch and catch in any situation
Right.
to pair with Ricky White's arm and Deontay Mills at 95 speed and Denard Williams at 94, or flip those two. 95 for Williams, 94 for Mills, and then you add a 4.340 wide receiver to that mix,
Mhm.
and they are just gonna run everywhere.
Like, and also
And
like
with Braden Hampton in the backfield, oh my God, that
like
offense is
Stevens, I
exciting.
think is like he has so many like you just don't see the guys who are just that fast. He also has the release. He's so good at getting off
No,
the
yeah.
line too. It's not like it's gonna go to waste because he's both agile, quick. Like he'll
If
get
he's
going
able to
too.
beat the press, it's over. It's gone.
Exactly, and I think it's a fascinating receiver. This dude's I think a play league's wet dream,
Oh yeah.
especially play leagues would love this. He's just and he can catch, so like you're
Mhm.
not gonna have to worry about any of like the fast receiver tropes of is he like a Seth Roberts who can be fast, run down a line, but as soon as you make him make any catch, and also he has catching traffic, which is always nice to
Mhm.
have, having both catching and catching traffic just to help him if somehow the corner
Yeah.
does keep up a bit, he can make
Yeah.
contested catches enough as well. I think he's just
He's a slot guy. He is a great slot guy because he can release, he can catch in the middle of the field and hold on to that, or he can catch and run with it off a slant.
yeah. I think Stevens is so fun, and I think even
Hmm.
if he's like, especially just as like yeah, a fun pick. Oh my god, he's gonna be
Hmm.
so good. And I mean, like even if like the Bills probably have other. I know for a fact they have other needs.
Sure, they have other needs, but we all want to see Ricky White with three
And if Ricky
95
White
plus
can't even do,
receivers.
look right, then it's like, all right, maybe we should find. I mean, there's plenty of, I think, decent quarterbacks in free agency. If Ricky White's truly not, I think even with Hughes or something, who's currently sitting at free, I don't even think he has a bid on him. He might have a bid on him. We'll see now. Like, who's the?
Mhm.
There's like quarterbacks up here. Yeah, no one has.
Or Lobato.
Okay, actually,
Lobato's
wait. To
around.
be fair, Lions are going for Lobato in
Lions are going for
free
Lobato.
agency, which is such a good. I think that's really good.
Yeah, I think
Lobato,
that's
I
a
think
great
even.
chance for
Well, I mean,
him.
that's not Bills. Actually, never mind. That's Lions. I'm
But the Bills can
other.
come in and get it,
I
or the
think,
Hughes can come in and
yeah,
get it.
but I think either Hughes or Lobato. If somehow White just not working out, both are proven guys who can at
Hmm.
least stretch the ball a bit down the field from what we've seen. So.
Yes.
But again, gotta give White a chance still with these guys, just like the Josh Allen kind of arm.
Yep.
Um, I like it. We've given a lot of time to this pick, but I think it's because it's so fun and one of the just most interesting guys. Just, I mean, age isn't an issue either. It's like 23 might be like, oh, really? But,
Two
I mean,
seasons.
two
Who cares?
seasons. Yeah, he might not get to, like, as high as an overall as he might have been, but, I don't
I
think
mean,
you
no one
worry.
will be.
Yeah. Well, next up, we have Cardinals, and Cardinals are in an interesting spot here. I
They
think.
also are making a run for Lobato right now, actually.
Let's see
So
if
they
they
could. I mean,
update
like,
that.
you know, yeah. So if the Lions lose out, then maybe they do have to go that other quarterback.
Um, but yeah, like I feel like Cardinals have a lot of things in need, but a lot of them just aren't here right now.
Hmm.
Either taken or just not great value. So I think here it's boring, but it's also we haven't talked about it a lot. This is a really good um uh O line class, and O line of course is like nap time. But yeah, I think here you just be like, all right, there's not a lot here right now for me that I need. All my needs are either reaches or um not yeah, just they're almost all reaches or just not value. So I think here you take Wesley Booker out of Texas A&M, and you're just like, all right, I'm getting one of the best players in this draft, talent wise, and we're
Hmm.
giving whoever, if you want to replace Kyler, you can replace Kyler, or just give Kyler a bit more for that last year or two. And I think
Yeah.
Booker's that guy, not flashy, but he's he's gonna fit in and he'll be real good.
For me, I have them going Tim Womack
Yeah,
after the
yeah.
wide. Yeah, after Hassan Stevens goes, Womack is still the best wide receiver on the board left. Like you said, he's. I mean, I see the Stephon Diggs. I love his route running. I love his catching. For whatever quarterback's gonna throw, I don't even know if Kyler's starting anymore there. But they need weapons. They need some options. You go in guard, and that's fine, but you can't throw to guards. You can have all the time in the world if you have no
I
one to
also had
throw to.
Womack gone already, so if Womack was
True,
there, I'd
yeah,
absolutely pick Womack. Um,
yeah.
I just think Stevens and Womack gone. Like
There's not really a third wide receiver I'm that high
that's
on.
I'm high on a few, but I don't think here is where you take them. So yeah,
Yeah,
I know I like Womack a lot. I think Womack would fit in really well, and I would be absolutely ecstatic if I could draft Womack. But alas,
hmm,
in this mock draft, or my mock draft, it's not meant to be.
yes.
Next up, we have Utch. And I think Utch has, I mean, since the Super Bowl, he's kind of built down and hasn't replaced everything as well as he might have hoped. Um, but here I think this guy's fallen a bit, A, because his projected round, but also just because I don't think a lot of teams in this top 10 really have a pressing need at edge rusher or just
Hmm.
on D line. It seems like D line is something that a lot of teams up top are really actually solid at or have just more pressing needs. Um, so I think here you take one of the best players that could be in this draft with Steve Floyd um,
Yes.
out of UCF. world champions, um, UCF, and I think it's Steve Floyd. He's a boring name, you know, not.
It's kind of a boring
He
kind of
is
a
a bit of
boring player.
boring guy, but again, he's really good value. I think, uh,
Mhm.
especially when you need to solidify your D line. I think he is the guy who can do it here, and I don't know if there's anywhere else you can look if that's your goal.
Yeah. I also have Steve Floyd. We are converging again. Um, Steve Floyd going to the Texans here. He's just it. Like
Hmm.
he's the best player left on both of our boards. I feel like he's smart. He's not that fast. He's pretty quick. And he's strong. And
Right.
he's an end. He's an end, right? He's no like uh Matt Cox coming out. He's no I would say he's more I don't even have a comparison for him because he kind of just is. He's just good.
Yeah, I know. He's just yeah, he's a guy. He's
Yeah.
he's everything all around. It's like, yeah, he's good, but nothing like wow that stands out more than anything else.
Hmm.
We've seen a lot of these kind of guys.
Yep, we absolutely have. He's just a better he's pretty much like any of those late first round ends, right? Where they just have like abilities, but he's able to be not that. I think
Hmm.
he's a lot better than that.
Yeah, again, pretty basic pick, but I like it.
Yeah.
I think next up we have the Chiefs, Brent, and this is again we're kind of land of boring picks. I think what's
Hmm.
happening here is a lot of the picks that weren't as flashy, but some of the talent wise were top 10. I think this is where a lot of them will go outside of the top 10, at least for me. Like this is where I have guard Gabe Rogers out of Tennessee going because I
Yeah.
think talent wise he's still one of the best players in this draft class, but he's just kind of boring. And I think with Brent, there's other things he can certainly go. Um, but I think talent wise, it's hard. You're gonna want that O line. Mahomes still kicking it after all these years. I think here, you just Rogers, he's an interior lineman, maybe a little sleepy, but Brent needs that. And he can run block and pass block. He's I don't know. It's a fit. It's I guess again, it's nap time, but
Mhm.
I hate doing goal line picks because especially like the guards. It's like yeah, it's a guard that exists. He's pretty
It's there. It's
quick,
on your team. Yeah.
but yeah, he needs it.
Um, he doesn't need it. No, he needs interior. For me, I have him trying to. Chiefs haven't won the division in a bit, and they really haven't won the division since Jamario's been in, and the Broncos have taken over. So I see them going with trying to counter Jamario and bringing in Jimmy Brenner, probably the best middle linebacker in the class.
Hmm.
He's fast, he's agile, he's quick. I think he can catch up to Jamario. He's got the smarts to catch up to Jamario. He can get off blocks to get to Jamario, and he can tackle Jamario really well. Uh, I think that, and also just kind of clogging the middle of the field, is the way that the Chiefs have to go if they want to get back and start winning.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like the Raiders almost got that
Oh yeah.
a Week 17 loss, but the Chiefs were. I think they really need to find a way to get a guard.
Yeah. Oh, I could just totally see that. Linebacker's definitely a need, and I think would certainly help. It's just I think Brenner's fine. I none of the
It's
linebackers
the value pick is
particularly stick out to me anymore.
yeah.
And like I think it's like O line's like it's boring, but it's also real. I think one of the best like overall picks. So it's BPA
Hmm.
versus need, and also both are needs. But how exciting do you want that need that you pick to be?
Yeah.
Um,
Then he's getting a Gabe Rogers.
and see, next up, I think, yeah. Next up, we have the Bears, and I have a player that fell that you went number two, and I think for me, I only had him. Had him fall not because I don't think he deserved it at all. I just think, oh, wrong pick. Uh, I think this guy defensive tackle Martin Woodyard. He went two for you, but like I just don't. It's like between because Dolphins can go anything. I had him go Leonard.
Yes.
I think like between three and here, there's just no one who's willing to pass up on or their need for a defensive tackle. You know,
Yes.
like I'm looking at my picks and it's like, no, I could see why you wouldn't pick defensive tackle, why you go elsewhere above a defensive tackle. And I think this guy, despite his immense talent, um, I don't think he is as good as Gilberry, but he's not much further behind. But just looking at the rest of these teams and their A defensive tackle talent past that, it's just not there. So I think he could fall all the way down to the Bears here, which would be a really good pick for them if it
Oh yeah.
happens. Um, he had the guy. He's a defensive tackle. He's a run stopping defensive tackle, all right. But he's very strong and quick, and he's a lot like a Gilberry that's just not quite as good.
Well, I mean, not only is that like outside of the Dolphins, between the Dolphins and the Bears, no one really needs D line. Like all these top, like the last 10 picks,
Like I mean, we
like
saw it
they
with
don't really
Steve
need.
Floyd.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like he fell not because Floyd's bad, but because just not our need. So
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
here
Uh,
Woodard would go and it would be a steal because Bears
that'd be a
definitely
very
do
good.
need DT and are one of the first teams that actually truly need DT out of the top two where everything's a need.
For me, I don't have any D left. So I'm gonna go with a bit of a interesting one. I'm gonna go Miles Westbrook out of USF.
Mhm.
I mean, he's the second best running back. They need a running badly. Their strength is in their offense. They have the quarterback. They got him weapons, and it worked out. But now they've been out of a run. It feels like forever. Cause
Yeah.
like they had that old Cowboys run,
Oh,
and
the
that just
one that got passed around a bunch.
yeah,
Yeah.
they just haven't had like a solid run. And I think with this little left, we see how big a running back effective when healthy. And so Westbrook I think he's a very good quick back. I think get holes in. He's very, I mean, he is elusive. That's his whole shtick. He's an elusive back,
Yeah.
and I think that's what the Bears want
Mhm.
is some just a playmaker in the backfield.
Yeah. I can see that, especially without DT. Westbrook's is a lot easier to pick here, I think, than top 10, just based off his skill set.
Yep.
All right, next up we have you, the Chargers, a bad
Yay.
team, but actually not that
Bad.
bad. Um,
Eh.
It's and I think I have Westbrook. I've never been a Pace fan. Pace has always been like, wow, what could have been, but I
I'm
think
starting to also not be a Pace fan.
Pace just has never been as good as you think he'll be. He very much has higher or like he always looks a lot sexier than he really has any right being and how he plays. So I think here you go Miles Westbrooks. Um, it's pretty clear that you need running, and you've been looking at running back for like ever, even before
I
you got
have.
Pace. And
Yeah.
I think Westbrook, yeah, he's a smart dude. Like he can see where he's running, and he's just like elusive. He'll juke him out. He won't fumble it. Everything you want in a running back, at least maybe a running back like him. So I think hopefully doesn't have the top end speed, but and he has enough. He's not a slow guy by any means. So I think that he makes a lot of sense if he falls to you.
And also that gives me like a good like Pace would probably third down
Yeah,
back.
he would not be at the. Pace is probably better at third down and short yardage situations.
Exactly.
Yeah, this guy's
But
not the strongest, but we'll see.
for me, Bears take him right ahead of me, as has happened these last few years. And Abraham going, etc. All those running backs that get so close. But I'm gonna go and grab Rocco. Another. I'm gonna go Trey Graves, the third receiver off the board.
Sure.
I like. I mean, I have a lot of. I built the offense route runner, and Trey Graves is no different. He's a very good route runner,
Mhm.
very quick off, very good acceleration, very good quickness, and he's a solid.
Right.
I think he's in the same realm as the other wide receivers taken. Isn't as flashy as some of the other ones are.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I mean I like Roth a lot more just because combines
Oh yeah.
power and speed, and or I guess all of it combined. But I think Westbrooks is a better pure elusiveness kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I love Roth. I take Roth in a heartbeat. He's somehow.
Right. Anyways, next up we have the Bulldogs, team formerly known as the Titans, and I think here, uh, Bulldogs, and that's they have a few things. Tempting to give him a receiver to help the to help Bono out. Is it Bono? Yeah, it's Bono still. Or Bond. Bono's old Broncos. Um,
Bono.
isn't it? No, Bond is. In Madden, they all look. The D looks like the O,
Oh yeah, I was like,
and
it's
I
Bono.
see it, and I'm like, oh, like Bono looks like Bond, and so I get them mixed up in my head sometimes. Which
Mm-hmm.
one's on which. But I'm dumb. It's Bond. And I think Bond could go with weapons, but I think here, with the weapons left, I think you still go, or you go with another need on the other side of the ball with the free safety um Polak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the he's I mean he's no means is certainly better than Pollock. Is it Pollock? I'm gonna call him Pollock. That's funnier. Um, But yeah, Paul, he's a good zone. I like zone corners a lot. I trust him a lot in Madden, just cause you can trust whatever stupid call Madden decides to make him do. You can be like, all right, I have a little confidence that he can at least keep it up, not like mess it up because he has lack of zone. I'd rather have be the zone corner than the big hitter personally, just because you can trust him. Like it's not like he can't hit big either. It's just not
Yeah.
quite as explosive. And of course, with our fumble sliders, I don't know if the big hitter is as useful as in maybe real life.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like Pollock a lot. He's young. He's good zone corner. I or not corner. Not a safety. And I think he'll be good for the Bulldogs out there in London.
I have to agree. I have them going Pollock as well. They really need some help, like both their need and free safety.
Right.
And so they need to address one of them. And I
Mhm.
think Pollock's the better of the things there
Yeah.
still around. I like you said, he has good zone, like guarantee. He's
Mhm.
got good confidence. He's young, which again doesn't really matter anymore, but it says something. He can still progress throughout the
Yeah.
Bulldogs make it maybe. progress a bit more.
Mhm. Yeah, Bulldogs. I think that's. I think Pollock's a good pick for them. Next up, we have the Bengals. Bengals are sneaky. I like the Bengals teams a
Hmm.
lot this year, and I think going. Um, it's there's a few things they could use, but again, time for. And I mean, you're avoiding these a lot more than I am, so I think you're gonna
Yeah.
have more boring O line coming up. But here's
Yep.
the third boring O line, and I think we're gonna take a break from boring O line on my department here, because I think the after slate, um, the three or four O line I have going, I think are four of the top 10 best players. Like they're
Sure.
truly talent wise, and out of the box, which is I think in these last few drafts a big value. It's like out of the box is so important for these last 2 years
Yeah.
because I mean you only have 2 years, so like half his career he's gonna be a rookie overall. So I think getting someone who's good to begin with and can make an immediate impact like Slate can, I think would
Yep.
be really good for this Bengals team. And past this, I don't think the O line is anywhere near in the same realm as any or of these top four guys. So I think here Slate is your last true good O line. I think Bengals take one of the best players left on the probably the best player left on the board, talent wise. Get that guy, solidify that O line. I think everything is good there.
I always do this. I always do like I always let the guards and the interior line always fall. 'Cause it always bites me. But you know what? I never learned from my mistakes. Wesley Booker, who you had going
10.
10, 10. Yeah, Wesley Booker, the first guard, goes off here to the Bengals.
Mhm.
I mean, like they got Baker. Baker's old. Uh, let's try to keep him up. Let's try to
Mhm.
keep him up. The Bengals don't have an offensive line at all. They at least have some semblance of uh, a strength in other positions. They only have four like glaring needs, and the others have been dried up or to be drying. Just got to get Wesley Booker
Mhm.
is probably a top 10 in talent. I mean, for sure, top 10.
Oh, absolutely top 10. I
Yeah,
like uh Booker's my favorite of the guards too. So like
yeah,
the me that I think Slate's also a top 10 just cuz I think the guards are all really good and really similar.
yep.
I think it says something. But yeah, I don't know, it's guard. It's guard time.
It's good.
Next up we have uh Panthers, and Panthers now it's a new. They got rid of Lobato. I don't. I mean personally,
They
I don't
almost
like it.
made the
I don't.
playoff.
I mean I love Starkey too. Starkey and Lobato are both very good, but I think Lobato wasn't truly the issue. I don't think Starkey like just you're replacing the same. Or I mean, they're different quarterbacks, but same kind of tendencies in the playoffs, and they just don't always have that knack for postseason. I think. Prove me
Hmm.
wrong, Zach. But I think here you gotta just give him a weapon. You gotta give Starkey more weapons if you truly believe that. If you're like, all right, if we're going all in on Starkey, goodbye Lobato. I think yeah, you can't just make that move and not get a weapon. So here you go,
Yeah,
Trey Graves, who you had him going
to me.
earlier. Yeah, you had him going
I
to
took him.
yourself. I think he's a good dude. I think he's a good slot guy. Good at running routes, catching. Honestly, one of they're all these top three receivers, even if they've gone in a wide different spot or draft thing, I don't think they're that far from each other talent wise. I think it's just who needs them over other things, and also,
Yeah,
I mean, who's willing to reach on receivers because it's a hard position to draft, and especially with those at least like few seasons ago, before a few seasons ago, there was a big drought of these
it
guys.
was.
So I think just
Yeah.
you know, but I think Graves would be a great pick and a bit spooky. I don't like him. I don't want him in the South. No, bye.
um, I also have. Yeah. Panthers going wide receiver. I think your analysis that of what they did with Lobato and Starkey trade is spot on. They can't just assume that Lobato was the one back. They got Abraham, but
Mhm.
they really need a weapon. And this guy's risk. Shaquille
Right.
offered out of South Carolina. He will get open. Make
Mhm.
no mistake. Starkey will be able to look towards him a lot. The issue with him, can he complete the transaction, catch the ball?
Mhm.
Maybe he can, but there's no sure thing with him about that. He will be open. He will get there. He will be there on third down for you when you need him. It's
Yeah.
just, can he can he catch the ball? Can he get some yardage? Or even if he doesn't, just bring it down.
Mhm.
But outside of that, if he can, then you got a stud here. I love what he comes out with. I love his package out with. But that's up to you, Zach. If you roll the dice on him,
Right.
you do here because there's no other weapon to grab.
Mhm.
To grab something.
All right. Next up, we have another one, the Rams, and I think here
Yes,
they're actually a really solid team. They don't have a
they
lot
are.
of holes. Really, I think they're gonna make a
I
push
like
this
their
year.
offense a
They
lot.
better make a push. I think Bart and um
Prior.
yeah, Pryor are gonna come into their own. So here, I think you've got to take my good friend Charlie from Philadelphia says this man does not exist. He goes on giant rants. But Brian Silva,
Yes,
Pepe.
Pepe Silva. Nice.
I couldn't help it. Even though it's not even spelt the
Too bad he
same.
wasn't. Too bad he wasn't from like no.
That would be funny. But the Brian Silva is actually, a, I think, as a speed rusher, especially good pass rusher, I think he is a good dude. I think he's as a almost a pure finesse speed pass rusher. He's just so good. And even if maybe not everything else is as good as you want at a edge rusher, I think you just get the pure passer or pass rusher. I think that's one thing the Rams are truly missing, that guy who can truly get after the quarterback.
Yeah. Rams are probably the best team. I think there were a lot of teams that made it over them that didn't.
Yeah, in the
Uh,
playoffs, I mean, I don't
yeah,
think they're the
yeah,
best
and
team.
like
I think Saints are absolutely
yeah,
best team, but I
but
think
like
there's
that, like
plenty of
there was
teams looking in
there were
the
other
playoffs.
teams. The best teams that didn't make the playoff was, I think they were
Hmm.
they should not have met.
Sure,
And
absolutely.
here, like I'm going Brian Silva here, and it's if you look at what the Rams did, they led the league in last,
Mm.
and to add Silva because they do need an edge rusher, so they were able to do that with a subpar, with essentially a non,
Hmm.
and they racked up 63 sacks
Yeah.
as a, and Brian Silva and as just like another get pin your ears back, get to the quarterback guy.
Uh huh.
Maybe they can even break 70, and that is win. Like that adds up to a few more wins. They were just a few wins out of making this playoff.
Oh yeah.
I don't. I'm not sure if they lost anyone. Looking, they're shocked they got. Like
Hmm.
that's a huge number. So maybe I'm missing something here, but if that's a replacement, then that's a very good. It could be that their defense, because their defense is good as well, just in total. Their backfield, their bottom seven is amazing. Top to bottom is really good. So maybe it's a lot of coverage sacks as well. So Silva can help take some pressure off of back seven. That prolific at rushing. Elsewhere, he's why he's going
Hmm.
Vaughn. Silva's.
Yeah. Anyways, next up we have Me, the bad, the evil, the Buccaneers. No, I've made it very clear. I might have other needs, but we will not be replacing my old boys. We will not be. This is a retirement home for my people I've acquired over the years.
Yep.
This is Bucks are family over. We've decided we're above for family above truly winning the playoffs, and I think
Yep.
once you accept that, it allows you into a whole new world. Like running back, I think I might need, or even like receiver, I could need too. And there's a lot of things I truly need, but here it's tough to pick over anything. Like all my needs are pretty cleared out because I have a lot of common
Mhm.
needs. So I think here, I look at it, say, okay, there's not a lot here, but I really like. I think Jazier Steele out of Ohio State, the Ohio State. Um,
Yep.
simply because two things. He's slow as fuck. That's one thing I don't like. But he's good at man and he's good at the zone. And you have both of those and it's like, alright, I can trust this guy in Madden play calling. I can at least I don't have to worry that he's not gonna have or he's not gonna be awful in zone, and I can trust that he's not gonna be an awful in man because Madden will call
Yep.
both, and it doesn't care what
Yes.
your scheme is, and
Nope.
so I think this guy
Madden
can
doesn't
be a
care about
good.
your.
He's I think as a I'm drafting him as the number two, of course. I think
Of course. Yeah.
Hutton is clearly the
Hutton's your.
number one. And will never be unseated for the rest of this Madden. So I mean, I think this guy
What a
would
what
be
a
a
pick.
what?
What a pick, Hutton.
Hutton's a beauty. I love him. Uh, but I mean, I have a lot of what picks actually. I'm not bad
Mhm.
this Madden. So I mean, yeah, I like Jazier Steele quite a bit. Just everything except speed, really. He's slow. That's one concern. But I guess in the or you know, if he can, be good at man and zone, both, I think it's a little less of a big deal.
Yeah, Jazier. I mean, like as long as Steele, I'm gonna go Steele as well.
Yeah.
As long as Steele has safety help,
Mhm.
he is. I mean, he's the quickest corner in the class. I mean, he will get up to that 4.6 speed in no time. Um,
Right.
so he'll be able to. I mean, like, and especially with his coverage, you can bank on him. Make sure he can cover short and he can
Yep.
cover mid. And as long as he's not left alone going deep,
Mhm.
if you can make sure you have a safety there for him, then he's fine. Especially as a number two. Very,
Oh
he's
yeah.
very good. Um, and even can rotate into a slot if you need him to on
Mhm.
his package. I think Jazia Steele is a good pick for you. You got it. You've been focusing on getting your defensive backs up. Uh,
And it's dumb. I should go
Giants are
offense, but all
front three.
I feel like offense is gonna be wiped clean by now.
Oh yeah, I mean it is, and both of our minds gone.
mm. Anyway, all right. Next up, we have the Giants. Um, Giants also missed the playoffs. Bit of a surprise.
Yep.
NFC was definitely a pain in the ass this year.
Mhm.
Just because there was a lot of, I think there's a lot of beatdown by the playoff kind of teams, the
Yep.
close to playoffs. So it's like just a lot of tough or good teams missed out, even if the wild cards didn't have the most amazing uh record of all time. Not the highest record. So I think here, I think you have Giants. Um, I think with their needs, I think especially with Miles Jack and all of them really regressing. I think linebackers a certainty, and I think here I haven't had any linebackers go off just and because I don't think they're that good. But Brenner is definitely the best, so I think he goes with
Mhm.
Brenner, who's very I think being a pass coverage linebacker is always nice to have. Um,
Yep.
definitely pure middle. Not gonna probably move him out to outside, but maybe you could. I just don't see him at all being much of an outside linebacker. But I think up the middle, he's going to be great and a good guy to maybe help build your defense around now that all your older guys are retiring.
Uh, I am like I got to get these guards out somewhere. At 20, we have Gabe Rogers,
Yep.
who's the second best guard and still very good. He needs a center
I mean, I had him
specifically
going
to surround.
11.
Yep,
No.
yep. So 9 picks. Uh,
No, I had him going 12. My bad.
okay.
But
So 8. Um, but to round out the offense, you get Gabe Rogers center, and that gives Fordham a good, like a complete O line. Like their O line isn't that bad, but just
right.
to complete it for them. Again, the weapons are gone in my mock. There's no more. There's no offensive weapon he can grab. You might as well just complete that offense. Him.
Mhm.
Hope he gets back to that E4, that sophomore.
Yeah. I think I mean it's O line. It's O line, and I think here
It's
O
O line.
line would be an absolute steal. I mean, any of you,
Yes.
even Slate, which I mean you still have on your board, like any of them, they're just early first talent, and I think this far in the draft, you got I think having that talent available is so nice. Just to have a guy who can be a starter level out of the box, when especially when you can only have 2 years with him to develop.
Yeah.
So I like him a lot. Next up, we have Rob the Raiders. Again, I'm gonna make the joke I always make. Don't actually rob him. That's his name. Doesn't get old. It's stale.
Never get out. Never get. Yeah, it's still.
Here, so I think Rob. It's weird. It's weird for me. It's like you know what? You should add to your defense, which is really the reason why you're so good. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like the offense is what's keeping you back. But again, offense here's like,
What are you gonna
eh.
do? Yeah. What are
It's
you gonna
like I
give
guess you
him?
could add. On my board, you still offered still there, but I think here you
Sure.
gotta go Cordavius Bowen. You have him gone. Um,
I don't.
didn't you just pick him? Oh wait.
He's this pick. We both have
Oh,
Cordavius
never
Bowen.
mind. The
Yep.
spreadsheet's weird. And right. But yeah,
Yes.
Bowen is good. It's nothing different. I don't think that's too controversial. He's just more of a traditional, less pass coverage. He's just more tackle the guy sort of dude. He's much more of like yeah. He'll call the he can he has that good sense of how the play's developing, where stuff's gonna be, if it's gonna be a run or a pass, and I think that's good. Um, I don't know. It's a linebacker. We've seen guys like this. Probably gonna be decent. I don't think he's as good as Brenner.
Yeah. I also again, like I alluded to, I also take Cordavius Bowen. Their defense was pretty good, but again, big bad in division Broncos, and they have Williams, Averill leading that offense, and we watched in Week 7 how bad those linebackers were at right. There's a
Hmm.
reason why the Chargers swept the Broncos,
Right.
right? Morgan Spears in the middle, huge in those games at containing Williams, at containing Averill.
Hmm.
And Cordovius Bowen. Same with that's why the Chiefs, like I said earlier, go Brenner is because they need a playmaker in the middle that can contain Mario, keep him in the pocket,
Yeah.
be able to rush when he can, get a linebacker that can protect him from coming out. Then you can beat
Hmm.
because they are beatable.
Right.
You just have to contain Jamario and have not have him run for 100 yards on,
Hmm.
and Averill gets the extra 80. And Bowen especially more than Brenner probably. I like Brenner cover more as well as Bowen strictly will Mario and make him scared leave the pocket after
Right.
hits.
Yeah, I think that's good analysis. Next up, we have the Colts. Here we have I'm I think they have a few needs, but I think none more glaring than running back, which they don't have much at. Bit desolate. And I think here you got to go Raymond Sharpton out of Wake Forest. He's a bit interesting just because He's an elusive guy, but he doesn't really get his elusiveness from speed or agility like the other guys. Actually, I think
Hmm.
he's less agile than Trey Roth, who's considered more of a power back than he is.
Yeah.
I think this guy's more of an elusive back, yet he's less agile. I think this guy gets his elusiveness just from being so powerful that he just kind of makes guys miss and
Hmm.
hard to tackle because of how power strong he runs. So, I don't know. I think he's not as polished as the others, and not other than strength, he's not quite as good. Um, oop, um, probably shouldn't make this break, but it is time to advance to stage 4 in free agency.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't mention anything today, but I had a time set yesterday, so probably should have.
I mean,
It's
we
sec.
both have Ramon Sharpton going.
Sorry,
I think called. So
that's something
very interesting.
I had to do. But yeah, Raymond Sharpton, good.
Okay. With Ramon Sharpton, yeah, I don't know how they chose him as an back. Coming out, I mean, like he's got. I mean, I love his vision to make a real world player out of it. He's
Mhm.
like a Peterson with no speed,
Yeah,
right? He's got the vision. He's got the tack. He's got the ability to
he's a
shake some
crappy
guys off.
Peterson.
He's a very crappy Peterson. He has no top end speed. I mean, like I would say his acceleration is not bad. His
No.
acceleration is actually rather good. It's just top end,
Mhm.
and so I think he's like maybe an upgrade away from quarterback
Yeah.
anyway. Like, but
Mhm.
very strong, very good at this time. It's where they 20. I think that's a very safe pick there, and they can make it to the playoffs.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's a good fair assessment. Next up we have the 49ers. And Niners, despite making the playoffs, they had a rough run. It seemed like they beat the Bucks to make it in, and then just didn't go anywhere. Tire spun. Um, and so I think here you gotta give Heron another weapon, replace Diggs. And I think you take a guy who's a lot like Diggs and a lot like another receiver we've talked about earlier. Alex has taken him already. This time for real, not me just talking about out of my ass. Here we go. Shaquille Offord, who's basically a poor man's Tim Womack in a lot of ways. A deep threat that's not doesn't use speed to win, but route running. But I think to replace Diggs, that Diggs hole in your roster, I think Offord's good at that. Not a whole lot to say,
Right?
but he's a bit risky. I think that was fair in your assessment. But yeah, he's I don't think he's a bad pick for the late first. I like him a lot as a late first pick, especially, and especially at a position that's harder to draft.
Yes, but like if Alfred falls, I just think someone looks at that and
Mhm.
if I gotta try, right? Like if it works out really well. If it
Mhm.
well, it doesn't. Like, you gotta live with that. In the late, like I in the late first, if Alfred, then there's really no downside because it's a late first.
Yeah.
Expect them here and out as well as we're
You had him
16.
going, yeah, 17, which I had other receivers still there.
Yep. For me, I think that Royal needs a friend. He's been so good for that 49. And I think if you go Melvin out of USC to pair with, he's similar to Royal coming out with that good man, good press
Mhm.
ability. Uh, he's got to learn. He's got to learn, especially at the NFL level, how receivers work.
Mhm.
But he's sticky guy. And to pair with Royal, because they really only have Royal and no one else.
Right.
And Cummins at least gives them a two, especially in that Seahawks.
Mhm.
If they want to them, they need a second for that offense.
Yeah, I am concerned though. with Cummins in zone, I just haven't seen
Yes,
anything. It's like,
yeah,
wow, that he needs a lot of work in that department. He's pretty much a pure man to man kind of corner, and I don't know how that'll work out. Certainly helps that you have Royal, and I think you can get away with it a bit. But well, maybe zone's weird where it doesn't really matter if you're number one or number two. If they find a weak spot in your zone because you're a bad zone corner, it doesn't matter. The first
yeah,
whoever can find it still gets in. But if you're playing more man to man, I think he's definitely a great pick because I absolutely trust this guy in man to man. I think he's
yes,
starter. He's already starter level, and man, just when you ask him to play zone, it's like I don't know if you can trust him. And I think with that, I mean that's basically my analysis. I have Cummins going to number 24 pick, the Eagles, who certainly need a few things. Um, but again, we're kind of in the spot where a lot of common needs are gone. So I think here you get the corners who still have some depth there, and I think Cummins would fit well in the Eagles for reasons mentioned earlier. I think again they're not like strapped for corner, and I think that's when he's a perfect fit. If you have another corner to like, I wouldn't trust him as a number one, but as a number two, I think Cummins can work.
yeah. And if anything, the lack is to his advantage if the quarterback kind of makes a mistake because he does
Mhm.
have good speed
Yeah.
and he does have good ability to catch up. So
He's
he
one of
can
the
almost
faster quarters.
with
Yeah.
his yeah with his lack of zone that could maybe trap or trick some quarterbacks.
Sure. So
For the Eagles, I have them addressing O line.
yeah.
Gordon Carter has been kind of a shock. I know coming out, we liked him, the
Well, he
Eagles,
fell a bit.
but yeah, he fell a bit. Um, he was definitely the worst of that quarterback class, but
Yeah.
not the way he's playing. He's definitely like progressed, coming here as I think he's one. I think he's the best quarterback class now because that was the Hendricks.
Yeah.
Um, it was like the Hendricks class. I'd have to look at the other quarterbacks, but he's
Mhm.
definitely the one that has been to the playoffs
Yeah.
out of that quarterback class and
And he's been
titles.
decent. Yeah, I like him a lot.
I think maybe was Carter also the Fordham class? Was it Fordham, Hendricks,
Uh,
Carter, and another
I feel
quarterback?
like no Carter. I feel like has been in less than Fordham.
Okay, okay,
I'll
yeah, we
look
could check on
later.
it, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's either the best quarterback out of his class or the second.
Yeah.
And especially for where Carter went at like 4, I think,
Mhm.
from him. Get an O lineman, complete that O line. They just need a tackle. Slate is a guard. You had him going again way earlier than.
Yeah.
He is such a value.
Uh huh.
And the Eagles they gotta just keep trying to win this division. Maybe the dice will roll in the playoffs for.
Yep. I agree. I think um keep Carter. Giving help to Carter is certainly nice. I just don't know if it's as much of a need as even corner for them. But
But unfortunately,
or yeah, but there's not a lot. Yeah, I mean there's a few guys still kind of left that maybe you could pick, but yeah. Next up we have Broncos. I think Broncos they've been regressing a little bit. I don't know if they're
yeah,
not quite as super. I don't know if they're a contender still. I don't think I'd call them a contender anymore. But I think they could still sneak in for sure. And with Jamario, once he makes it Super Bowl, he's Eli Manning. So I think
that's true.
here you go. I think going Derrick Clifton to again that Broncos defense. That's how they're always built. I feel like that on defense. That's what they're known for. And I think going Derrick Clifton is how you go here. And again, he's a lot like Bowen, um, Cordavius Bowen, who we went to the Raiders. So I think just it's almost like in chess, where like you just trade like even one person's like, all right, I'm gonna take your rook, and you take a rook with the
Hmm.
rook, and then they're gonna take your rook with a pawn, and it's basically an equal trade. Uh,
Yep.
where Rob takes Bowen, and I think we're gonna have Salsa take it right back, just because it's how this AFC West is. I think both teams need that middle linebacker, and I think both teams will be happy with taking either one of these middle linebackers.
We agree. I believe this is our second. No, no. So this is we're once again converging. Yay. Derrick Clifton is the last good middle
Oh yeah,
board. Um, he's quick. I mean, he's very quick and
good
fast. Very
physically.
fast.
I just yeah
Yeah,
concerned about
a
his
physical specimen.
intangibles.
I don't know how well he's like. Yeah, I don't know where to even put him. Like, he's definitely. I'm worried about his coverage skills,
Mhm.
but I'm also worried about him and stuffing as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Like,
don't know.
I feel like he can get to places.
He
Like,
can
he's able to
tackle
get
all
off.
right, but I
He
don't
can
know.
tackle, but like, can he get off
I
a
don't think he can
block?
shed.
Yeah, like he'll if in open field, I feel like he'll make the play. He can absolutely make it in
Mhm.
the open, but getting in there to try and stop the running back up the middle.
Yeah.
So maybe linebacker.
All right. Anyways, next we have DDP and Washington, and I feel
Both
like
made the Super Bowl.
yeah, Oliver's sneaky, but right
Mm-hmm.
now the thing you look at that team, that O line's pretty desolate. He
Yes.
needs any O line he can get. And so again, we're going back to the sleepy. It's been a bit for me, but we're going back to sleepy O line. I think Malcolm Norton, who is definitely a step down from the first three guards I had taken, but he's still draftable, very much draftable, very much a
Very.
good talent, and even probably better overall wise than the players drafted around him. Um, but again, it's O line. He's a good pass blocker. I think helps Oliver out. Um, it's a smart pick. Boring but smart.
I agree. Boring but smart. I'm not. That's all the analysis I want to give Norton.
Are you having
Goodbye.
him go here or
Oh yeah, I am. I'm having. I'm having no.
not? Larry Moss.
Like he's.
Oh wait.
I.
Oh,
It's fine.
is that
Yeah.
who?
It's. Yep.
Wait.
It's Malcolm Norton. Malcolm.
Am I reading the spreadsheet?
Oh
Whatever.
wait. Oh wait. No. I screwed. No, it is Larry. That is Larry. My bad. I'll backtrack here. With Larry Moss, they do. I mean, yeah, I was looking too. Redskins do have some holes. They did not do well in re-signing people.
Yeah.
Um, and while this isn't a big position of need, all the other places are pretty dry, very dry. And so I'm gonna go Larry Moss, the fastest in the class,
Mhm.
and definitely one that can use his speed to good advantage ability for man press.
Yeah.
He is a he's a work in progress. I
Mhm.
mean, that's what you kind of expect down here in the later expect
Yeah.
a very much a
Next.
work in progress.
Next up we have Seattle. Seattle. You know, I'm a big fan. Just I don't know about Tim Tobias, but here I think you just gotta give Tim Tobias some help. Go with again boring O line, and I think O line is I think you just go Reggie Bryant out of Virginia. Uh, definitely a big steep drop off even from Norton. I think Norton the drop off between and the first three guards to Norton's a pretty decent drop, but Norton to Bryant's even bigger. But I think Bryant just needs it, and of the other positions he needs, O line's just so pressing and more available than the linebackers he might also want. So I think you just
Mm.
have to bite the bullet and go Bryant, even if he's not as good as some of the others. Maybe hope Norton or someone falls, but it's not a great pick. I think it's tough. It's just a need pick, and also just help out Tim Tobias in any way possible.
I'm gonna go Malcolm. You're
Yeah.
right. I did mess up. Uh, Sleepy O line. He's good. He's just he's solid,
Mhm.
guy. Pretty weak, but that's about the only
Yeah.
uh, guard class.
Mhm. Yeah. Next up we have Dustin, and Dustin, he has a few needs. He has actually a lot more needs than you. He probably there's a lot of age on that team and just getting old. And I think here, we have a weird pick. This is gonna be Alex does not like this pick at all,
I hate this pick. I hate
but
I
I
hate
think
that I
it
had
makes
to do this.
sense. With this, his receiving core is so elderly. It's like the old folks' home there in Pittsburgh. Everyone's above 30, it feels like. So I think here you go Austin Cooper. Austin Cooper's pure route running. That's what he does. He's so good at route running, but also that's all he does.
Yep.
He can catch cool too. He's had some cool catches in college, but he catch it.
He's like
He
a he's like
runs
he's like a
well.
Ted Ginn.
Yeah,
He
he
makes the he
runs
makes the hard
he
catches
runs
look easy.
he runs
But
smart routes. And that's
yeah,
all I can say. Nothing else is like wow.
yeah. Austin Cooper was not even gonna be picked. I'm that low on him, but the Steelers don't have. Um, yeah, he is probably one of the best route runners,
Mhm.
or one of the best route runners. Best. Um, and he makes the tough catches,
Yeah.
but outside of that, he has to totally rely on his route running ability to get separation. He has to rely on his route running ability to do anything. Essentially, like as soon
Mm,
as that gets shut down, he gets pressed, and he can
right.
be pressed. He is short. He is not quick off the agile. He's fast. You get a hand on him, just press him.
Yeah.
He's out. He's out of the play completely. If he's able to have some separation between the corner, if they back off, then he can get out there. He can maybe get a catch or two.
Mhm.
But I I don't like Austin Cooper, but the Steelers have got to be.
Right.
They will most likely take a chance
Next
for
up,
anything.
we have Paul. And
Yes.
Paul, this is gonna be probably not a great pick. I don't think talent wise he's there. But Paul's been asking. There's not a lot here. I feel like this is kind of where talent starts to be like a little more sparse. And I think here Paul just goes with the position he's been wanting for a while, even if it's not the best. He's gonna take the Minnesota boy, bring him to Green Bay, see if that's conflicting for him or any other Minnesota fans out there. But he's taking running back James Albert out of Minnesota, and I think Albert's very much just a solid kind of guy. Everything's just like, yeah, he's good, but nothing like, wow, that is amazing. He's a standard elusive back, got decent speed, decent agility, he doesn't fumble much, can juke and see holes. I think overall he's all pretty good. Uh, just Paul, yeah, really wants a running back.
I think James Albert was trying to position himself to be drafted by the Vikings in the second round.
Mhm.
Like looking at him, he doesn't look like he should be a second. I think
Yeah.
he's top five in speed, top five in agility. He's got the combine.
Mhm.
And so it shocks me. So I think he was like playing down to try and wheel out, but instead he gets to be sad. Probably homegrown Minnesota boy too, and he
Mhm.
gets drafted by the Packers in the late first. Oh,
Yeah.
what a shame! What a
And
shame.
Paul's
He
gonna draft
tried.
him. Paul said he will
Oh,
draft whoever we pick for him. So Paul,
and I mean like he needs a running back. He said he wants a running back. He's been saying that
mhm,
all season. And he gets one. He not again, not maybe not the best, but he's definitely one of the best left.
yeah, for sure. Next up we have Patriots Ryan, and I think here Ryan has a lot of old guys who just retired. You see
Yeah,
that,
like
and
eight.
yeah. So I think here though, you take it's an interesting pick. But I like it a lot. It's the left outside linebacker, uh, Ishmael Wesley. Wesley's
Mm,
really, I think, good, but he's much more of a 3-4 kind of guy. So I think
yeah.
even if you move him to edge, uh left end or right end, I think he'd fit really well there. He's a really good power rusher, and that's what he does. I like him probably there almost more than at outside linebacker, even in 3-4. I think a 4-3 would be perfect for him at
Hmm.
edge, and I could see that where, and I think Patriots need him, and he could be really well or turn out really well for them.
Yeah. I'm gonna go defensive tackle Perry Mathis here. I mean, like he's the best pass rushing defensive tackle. I think he can surprise some people, especially early on coming out of the gate. I like his move set. I like his strength. I like his speed off the
Mhm.
line. And if he gets there, like he can even he has a little bit of run stuffing as well in him as a defensive tackle would. But 289 at 6'1" is pretty light
Mhm.
and pretty short for a defensive tackle. So if need be, he can play probably all positions on the line. He's definitely not a 3-4 guy. He is a 4-3 defensive tackle through and through.
For sure.
Um, yeah,
Second to last, we have Sip the Jets, and I mean I've said this before. I think Sip is actually
the
really
shock of
Sip is
the
good.
league.
Sip is good, but I don't think he's. I think there's other teams, even in the AFC, that's just a bit better than Sip, and I think he just got
Yep.
some good luck. Cards fall his way, but that's how the Super Bowl, or that's how making the Super Bowl works. It's not all
Mhm.
the best team. Tell that to the '98 Vikings. F. 2009 Vikings. F. Fuck it, 2017 Vikings.
Yeah.
Um. Anyways, yeah, I think here there's a few places he can go. He's like a pretty solid team. I think here you just go Larry Moss. It's a guy who you can play more depth corner, either third or second. And Larry Moss got really good speed, got really good power. Um, uh, decent, not the best coverages. I think he's a much more physical kind of guy that you develop his coverages a bit just because he's pretty raw there. But I think he has enough to work off of, and I think as a late round pick, he's a very good person to have develop under some of your existing guys.
Yeah. What we saw in the Super Bowl for the Jets was Deshaun Watson getting scared. I mean, he was sacked, he was pressured, he was rolling out every time, it felt
Looks
like.
like Brian Watson.
Yeah, honestly, like, yeah, that definitely looked like Brian Watson. Like throughout the playoffs, Watson looked calm. The offensive line did well for him, but
Mhm.
just not in the Super Bowl. The Saints' defensive line was just too much.
Uh huh.
And so I think that they see that and they go Reggie Drummond, the guard out of Vanderbilt,
Mhm.
to try and address some of those holes on the right side. And he's very good at run blocking too, so that Reggie Drummond can even open up some holes for that running game that was really non-existent in the playoffs. It really relied on Watson making throws and having time. And as we saw in the Super Bowl, that you can't always just rely on that because he'll get spooked.
Mhm. And finally, we have Jim, and Jim. Let's be real, Jim.
Jim won the Super Bowl?
Wow, who would have thought?
Wow. Oof.
Deja vu. I have been in this place before. But I think here, really the biggest thing I saw, I'm like looking, it's like, could do better there, could do better there. But it's really most like there's only one place like, wow, okay, that's the only one that's not like 80 overall kind of starter. And I think that's a center, and I think you just take an interior lineman, and I like here for Jim, I like Enrique Knight. I don't know if he'd even start over his current center. Maybe he will. But I don't know. Enrique Knight, decent kind of guy. I'm sure he has a Jim will be mad at me again and be like, Tyler, we have a Drew Sammy on our roster.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, sorry, but I don't look. I've missed that, so I don't know. It's hard to. This is like the worst.
This is
You're
why we're
giving it's
bad
like
men.
here's O line. You're good. Here's O
You're
line.
so alive.
That's
Thanks for
basically.
thanks for staying with us through the whole mock draft. You're so
Yep.
alive.
That's basically it.
Uh,
And I do it every year, and this year's no change. Enrique Knight, he's O line. He's strong O line. I think he'd be a good center if Jim
yeah.
wants to go that route. Maybe draft some other depth somewhere else. I think this isn't the Saints aren't even gonna win. Like this is not where they'll win the next Super Bowl in the draft. It's not.
Mm,
This isn't what they've already had the pieces in line. So.
yeah. I actually have an exciting 30-second pick. I go with Ishmael Wesley, which you had going to the Patriots,
Mhm.
and the the Saints are 3-4, so they need a second middle
Yeah.
linebacker. Ishmael Wesley is a pass rushing outside
I could
linebacker,
not see him in
and
middle, so you have to move
no, he
someone
won't
else.
be. No, he won't be. He will not be. He will take the place of Miner, who is the current left outside linebacker that doesn't really have pass rushing moves. He really doesn't have good.
Mhm.
Um, he's not one that you would expect to line up against the left tackle. Wesley, I could see. Miner is way more as a middle linebacker too player, and
Yeah.
he would be that if they move him inside. And Wesley gets to be able to actually go after the quarterback and has the ability to cover that sideline on outside runs or outside throws if they drop him into coverage.
Yep.
And so I think that's the play that Jim wants to do to solidify that defense even more. They don't even need the help, but why not just add to this bounty
Yep.
gate? Boom, Saints reference.
But yeah, I
That
think
rounds it out.
yeah, that rounds it out. Thanks for listening to this, you know, early afternoon, morning kind of podcast. It's a bit different. Want to get it out for y'all, cause I think this is one where analysis is important because there's very little consensus on topics.
Mhm.
So thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. See you on the field.